If you're shopping for homeowners insurance for your new home purchase and you're about to go with the lowest quote, stop. Not because cheaper isn't always wrong, but because I want to make sure that you actually understand what you're buying before you sign it. I recently had a buyer, I'll call him Kris, who almost made a $400 decision that could have cost him tens of thousands of dollars after a storm. Stay with me. This one is worth it. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 things most buyers never look at on their homeowner's insurance. Contents coverage and why $10,000 isn't enough. The 2 deductibles on your policy and why one of them is a percentage and one is a straight cost. Other structures, including something most people forget about, is even covered. Loss of use and why this one really matters in Louisiana. And how to make sure you're actually comparing apples to apples when you're looking at 2 different policies. Kris was buying his first home. He's sharp, he did his research, got multiple quotes, and he came back with one that was $400 less per year and said, okay, I'm going to go with this. Now, I want to be real with you. $400 matters, especially when you're stretching for down payment, furnishing a new home, moving expenses, trying to keep your family's budget tight. So I'm not going to sit here and act like that's nothing. But here's one thing. When you're working with someone who actually cares about you and your outcome, not just closing your loan, they're going to look at what you're about to sign and they're going to help make sure that you know all the details. So I asked Kris, let's look at this together. What we found changed everything. So let's talk about what most buyers don't know about homeowners insurance. First, contents coverage. Your contents are everything inside of your home, your furniture, your TV, your kids' clothes, your shoes, down to your toothbrush. If a storm tears through your house or you have a major loss, you don't just need to fix the walls. You need to replace your life inside of those walls. The policy Kris almost chose had $10,000 in contents coverage. Think about that number. A couch, a bed, washer and dryer. You're already close to that. So what do you replace your family's home with for $10,000? The other policy had $60,000 in coverage. Same house, $400 difference a year. Now let's talk about deductibles, because that's where it really gets important. Most homeowners policies in Louisiana have 2 deductibles. One is for wind, hail, or hurricane, and one is for all other perils, which covers everything like fire or water damage from a burst pipe, a tree falls on your house. Here's what matters. The wind and hurricane deductible is usually a percentage of your total coverage amount. It's not a flat dollar amount. So if your home is insured for $400,000, a 1% deductible means you pay the first $400,000 before insurance covers anything. And a 3% deductible, that's $12,000 out of your pocket first. And a 5%, you're looking at $20,000 before insurance touches it. And we live in Louisiana. Wind and hail are not hypothetical. Now, here's a detail that really tripped Kris up. One policy listed 3% deductible for hurricane only. The other listed it for wind and hail. That matters because if your roof takes hail damage and the 3% only applies to hurricane, you'd pay a smaller amount on the all perils deductible for the hail. But if that deductible covers wind and hail, a hailstorm still triggers a big percentage deductible. So the cheaper policy Kris found, 3% deductible for hurricane only, $5,000 all other perils deductible, and $10,000 in contents. The $400 more policy was 3% deductible for wind and hail, $2,500 for all other perils, and $60,000 in contents. These are not the same policy, and you'd never know that just by looking at what the annual premium is. Now, let me show you 2 more important areas buyers completely skip over. Other structures. When people hear about other structures, they think, okay, maybe a shed. But y'all, your fence is another structure. Your detached garage is another structure. Any structures outside that are not physically attached to the house falls under that coverage line. If a storm takes down your fence or damages your detached garage, that coverage is what pays for it. Look at what your policy says there and make sure it reflects what you actually need for your property. And then there's loss of use. This one is important, especially in Louisiana. Loss of use coverage is what pays your living expenses if you're forced out of your house while it's being repaired. So we're talking rent, hotel, temporary housing, wherever you have to go while your house is being fixed. Now, some buyers say, well, I'll just stay with family. And that's a reasonable thought. But here's what I want you to think about. If a major storm hits your area and it takes out your house, what are the odds that your parents or your sisters or your in-laws' house took damage too? In Louisiana, a bad storm doesn't just hit your street. It hits the whole region. So when you're deciding how much loss of use coverage you need, think about your actual situation. If you've got a solid backup plan, your coverage can be adjusted accordingly, which can bring your premium down. But if your whole support network is in the same storm path you're in, you want to make sure your coverage is there. Here's what I want you to hear. This is not about scaring you. It's about making sure that when something happens, and in Louisiana, something eventually happens, you're not standing in front of your home doing math that you can't afford. You put all that work into getting your family into this house, the mortgage, the down payment, the planning. You deserve coverage that actually covers you. When you work with me at Vessel Mortgage, you get a peaceful, honest mortgage process, clear guidance, steady updates, and real care so that you can move forward with confidence. I'm not just handing you a loan and walking away. I'm walking through this stuff with you because this is probably one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. You deserve someone in your corner who treats it that way. If you're buying a home in Louisiana and you want someone who'll actually look at the details with you, give me a call or send me a message. My number is 504-949-0070 or grab a spot on my calendar. The link is right below in this video. And if this helped you, share it with someone who's thinking about buying a house or right in the middle of it right now. They need to hear this before they sign anything. Y'all take care, and I'll see you on the next one.